Harshavardhan in the year 606 AD was consecrated as the ruler of both the Pushyabhutis and the Maukhris. This enthronement of Harsha happened under strange circumstances. If we move just 5 years backward, we find that Harsha was just a prince. It was his elder brother Rajyavardhan who was the king of the Pushyabhutis, whereas the Maukhri kingdom was ruled by a Maukhri ruler whose name was Grahavarman. The Pushyabhutis and the Maukhris were allies and there was a matrimonial relation between the two. Harsha's sister Rajyashri was married to the Maukhri ruler Grahavarman. But for Harsha, the world turned upside down within a couple of years. The king of the Gaudas, Shashank, and the Malwa ruler decided to jointly attack the Maukhri kingdom. In the ensuing struggle, not only the Maukhri king Grahavarman died, but Rajyavardhan, the Pushyabhuti king, was also killed. With these two deaths, now the throne of the Pushyabhutis and the throne of Kannauj lay vacant. If we look at the Maukhri kingdom during this time, we find that Grahavarman's queen Rajyashri, she had survived. But the future of the Maukhri kingdom lay in the dark. Shashank, the ruler of Gaud, had just conquered Magad. Shashank was the greatest rival of the Maukhris and it was he who was responsible for the killing of the Maukhri ruler Grahavarman. So there was a real possibility of another Gauda invasion of the Maukhri kingdom. In these troubled times, there was no one to lead the Maukhris. Our sources do not mention any son of Grahavarman and Rajyashri. So without a king on the throne of Kannauj, there was a real possibility that a civil war might break any time soon. If this civil war happened, Shashank would not remain idle. He will try to take advantage of this chaos and will conquer the Maukhri realm itself. If we look at the position of the Pushyabhutis, it was somewhat better. After the death of Rajyavardhan, Harshavardhan became the new king. And after gaining the throne of Thanesar, Harshavardhan had launched a military campaign against Shashank. This campaign against Shashank not only helped in instilling confidence among the Pushyabhuti army, but it also helped Harsha to gain respect among the Maukhri rulers. Harsha had also rescued the queen of the Maukhris and his sister Rajyashri. So the future of the Pushyabhutis was somewhat secure. But the Maukhris had no such advantage. The important dignitaries and ministers at Kannauj had two choices. They can wait to see the entire Maukhri kingdom being engulfed in a civil war, ultimately leading to the conquest of the Maukhri realm by the Gaudas. Or they can offer the throne of Kannauj to the Pushyabhutis or Harsha. The Maukhris chose the latter option. And we find that around 606 AD, Harsha became not only the ruler of the Pushyabhutis but also of the Maukhris. Although Harsha now sat on the throne of Kannauj, but to rule the Maukhri realm was a different case. We find that there were many Maukhri feudatories who did not accept a Pushyabhuti prince on the throne of Kannauj. And it took around 6 years for Harsha to consolidate his hold over the hereditary lands of the Pushyabhutis and the Maukhris. And it was only in 612 AD that Harsha and his army was ready to start his eastern campaign against his foremost rival, Shashank, the king of the Gaudas. Around 630 AD, Harsha's great army was somewhere in the Muzaffarpur district. This means that northern Bihar had come under the control of Harsha. But what about southern Bihar and Gaud itself? Historians give two very different answers to this question. In his book Ancient History of Bengal, R.C. Majumdar argues that in these initial campaigns against Shashank, Harsha's success was short-lived. The region of Magad and southern Bihar remained under the control of Shashank till his death. But a completely different answer is given in D. Devahuti's Harsha, a Political Study. In this book, D. Devahuti writes, and I quote, "It seems that continuing his march from Kannauj and winning the allegiance of the petty rulers through whose territory he passed, Harsha ultimately reached Gauda and inflicted a defeat on Shashank." So you can see we have two very different perspectives when it comes to the first campaign of Harsha. On the one hand, we have R.C. Majumdar, who believes that Harshavardhan, when Shashank was alive, never conquered Magad, leave alone northern Bengal. Whereas D. Devahuti argues that Harsha's kingdom extended as far as northern Bengal. If you ask me, I personally believe that here R.C. Majumdar's view are more plausible. In the first stage of Harsha's conquest, Harshavardhan never reached northern Bengal, and Magad too remained out of his control. It was only after the death of Shashank that Harsh was able to conquer the region of Gaud. This second campaign against Gaud most likely began in the 630s, and by around 642 AD, the whole Gaud was under the control of Harsh. Around this time, marching south from the capital of Shashank, Karnsuvarn is located in the modern-day district of Jadupur, West Bengal. So Harsh marched his army from Karnsuvarn and entered the land of Shalodbhavas of Konkoda. Konkoda is the region around the Chilika lake south of Puri. Thus, some part of Orissa too had come under the control of Harsh at this time. Whether Harsh moved further southwards is not known. There is no evidence to claim that Harsh ever laid claim over the land of Kalinga or the interior Odisha. Thus, it was only at the end of Harsha's reign that most of eastern India had come under the control of Harsh. Now, what about western and northwestern India? If you look at the political map of the subcontinent at this time, we find that Harsha's dominion lay up to the Beas River in the west. The territory between Beas and the Indus River belonged to the Takka kingdom, with whom Harshavardhan enjoyed a friendly relation. In the north of the kingdom of Takka lay the kingdom of Kashmir, which acknowledged the suzerainty of Harsh. Another kingdom of considerable strength at this time was the kingdom of Sindh. Its boundary stretched up to Kashmir, and there seems to have been a constant struggle between Harsh and the kingdom of Sindh over Jalandhar. Now, if you move southwards, here too Harsh led a campaign, and the result of this campaign was a tragic one, as Harsha had to face defeat. Now you can watch this video where I will talk about what were the circumstances that led to the struggle of Harsha and the Chalukyas. If you like this video, do subscribe. Thank you for watching.